On March 17, 2026, Cardinal Arthur Roche, the prefect for the Dicastery for Divine Worship, sat down with OSV News in his Vatican office. He had a message for the faithful who cherish the traditional Latin Mass. Stop thinking about your own preferences. When we go to church, he said, we don't go to worship simply as an individual, but as a family. Unity, he argued, is the only lens that matters. But here is the raw truth traditionalists have been shouting for years. This is not about unity. This is about forced uniformity. Roche's comments are merely the public echo of a two-page document he slipped to cardinals during Pope Leo XIV's first extraordinary consistory in January 2026. A document that was never formally debated, but whose contents leaked and ignited a firestorm of criticism from traditionalist Catholics. Imagine a young family driving 45 minutes on a Sunday morning, past a dozen parish churches, just to find a sanctuary where the Mass faces east, where silence is golden, and where the priest whispers the canon. For Roche, this is a problem to be solved. He told the cardinals that the 1969 Missal of Paul VI should be the sole expression of the Roman Rite, and that the older form is merely a concession that needs to be eventually phased out. Why does this cut so deep? Because it feels personal. The cardinal dismissed traditionalists as a quite clamorous small minority. But when you are that father in the pew, your faith is not a noise complaint. It is the inheritance of your grandfathers. And Roche's argument that the old Mass is being promoted against the unity of the Church rings hollow when you realize that the Church happily tolerates dozens of other rites, the Ambrosian, the Mozarabic, the ordinariate use, without a whisper of suppression. The cardinal quoted Pope Benedict XVI beautifully, calling tradition the living river that links us to the origins. But then he twisted the metaphor. He argued that because the river flows, the old forms must be left behind. This is what critics have called a redefinition of tradition unknown to Catholic theology. The Council taught that rites can coexist without compromising unity. What the cardinal is enforcing is not Vatican II. It is a liturgical purge dressed up in the language of peace. And yet, there is a painful irony here. Roche admits that the Novus Ordo suffers from its own abuses and lack of formation. So why not fix the new instead of destroying the old? Cardinal Roche insists that fidelity to what has been received is everything. But for traditionalists, the deepest wound is this. We're trying to be faithful to the Mass of the ages. And the Vatican keeps telling us that our fidelity is an act of rebellion. The question is not whether the Church needs unity. The question is whether that unity must be built on the ruins of our spiritual home.